Day 108. Just woke up. It's like 6:45. This is the local deer coming to drink my morning pee, or to lick my morning pee that I just released. I think they like the salt in it. Well, it's a few minutes after I showed the deer. I just can't get out of bed right now. It's cold for some reason. I'm like a little under 7,000 feet in elevation on this ridge line, but it's cold. I actually slept pretty good. It was a really good sleeping temperature, but the sun's not peeking over this valley and I'm in a valley. It's not peeking over these mountains, and if my shin is like, I don't know if it's gonna flare up like it did yesterday. I hope not, but it's really, really sore right now. Like it's clear it went through some bad trauma yesterday. So like if that wasn't hurting, it'd be easier for me to get out of bed, because then I know I can just start walking and moving fast and I'll warm up. But like with how I feel right now, I just can't get up. And last night I was in so much pain. I got here and it's just like fatiguing, like being in that much pain. So I got to this campsite where Bubbles and Bernie, the two people I rode into and out of town with, were also camping. I had stated early on my intention to camp here, and I started applying forward, but that was before the shin flared up to that degree. So I ended up being the last one to hobble into camp, and I set up my tent, and like water was a side trail away, and I just had no energy at all to go get it. And I had half a liter, and I was going to try to get through the night with it, maybe even the next 3 miles if I could, to the next water source. And I woke up at 2:30, and I had already drank all my water from before going to bed and little sips at night, and I just had to go get some. So I went on a really interesting night adventure. Now my shin was hurting. I didn't obviously take my backpack or anything, but it was about 0.7 miles round trip from where I was camped to the water, and it was really hard to find, especially in the dark. And I knew that from the comments, but it was honestly kind of a fun little adventure. But I needed that water. I wanted it so bad. I laid here for a while debating what to do. Like, should I just keep going? But I didn't want to take my tent down. So that threw off my sleep schedule a little bit too. But it's not like I sleep straight through the night anyways. So after I drank a bunch of water and came back with some, then I went back to bed. I also I didn't take any painkillers right before bed because I had to take some while I was hiking. So at that time I took some. And then I put the cream on my shin, and I massaged it a bit. So I kind of gave it another round of treatment at like 3 in the morning or so. So now it's like 7:15. I think I'm just going to lay here for a little bit more. I just can't. I mean, I could, but I have no desire right now to get out and moving. All right, good morning again. Proper good morning. This is day 108 on my hike from Mexico to Canada along the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a little after 8 a.m. I'm very happy with that start time given what I was dealing with last night and what I'm still dealing with through the night and still dealing with now. Very tough situation for me with my shin flaring up out of nowhere. One of the worst pains I felt this entire trip is this anterior tib pain. I've done everything I can in the last 12 hours to manage the pain, massaging it and putting on cream and taking ibuprofen with a bunch of water. But it feels right now as if, I don't know, the best way I can describe it is like somebody punched you really hard, like 10-15 times in the same spot, and the kind of like bruising you get the next day. That's how sore and tender it is right now from where I had the flare up. Hopefully it doesn't flare up again, but I don't know. That really pushed my limits last night with feeling that after I just been getting better over the stress fracture. So this is where I camped last night. About to get started. I heard the trails were right here, but it was a pretty nice spot. Down in there, and then way over that ridge, and then down in there somewhere is that spring. Definitely hard to find in the night, but I figured it out. But yeah, gonna get moving here. Hopefully, I'm gonna go start out really slow with this shin. I did like proper stretching on it and the same exercises I did when I was rehabbing my left one for the same exact issue in the same place early on in this adventure, like day 17 or so. So hopefully it doesn't get worse, but I'm not holding my breath. Well, unsurprisingly, after what happened last night, I feel every step in my right anterior tib. The question is it sort of the aftermath of what happened yesterday, and it's just kind of shell-shocked and sore, or is it going to get as bad and flare up like it did yesterday, where I couldn't even walk? The one thing I remember when I had a really bad anterior tib tendonitis on my left leg in this third week of this hike, took me off trail, is the one thing I've experienced besides all my other injuries that didn't sort of warm up and give me a window where I could deal with the pain and it gets better and then it hurts again. It just gets worse as you go. Everything else, for the most part, maybe not the sciatic nerve issue, but like everything else I've experienced out here, the Achilles tendonitis, the plantar fasciitis, the stress fracture, the knee pain to some degree, etc., would all sort of warm up a little bit. But this, just the more I'm walking on it already, the worse it's hurting. That's what happened yesterday. That's what happened with my left one in the beginning of week 3. I'm very, very concerned about this more than all these other pains that I have that I just kind of deal with and trust as they ebb and flow and go away. Just about 3 miles in. To say every step hurts would be a bit of an understatement. I don't know, I'm taking many breaks, trying to just not let this thing get to the point where it was yesterday, but the way it feels right now is how it felt an hour before it got to the debilitating point yesterday, whereas I was feeling it all day yesterday, but not to this level. So I don't know, this is just story of my hike, honestly. It's like so ridiculous. When I ran to that girl, Lightning, going southbound 2 days ago, she was on day 50, but she asked me, I said day 106, and she said, her response was, that's pretty good pacing, because she said it's kind of considered good pacing if you can get California done in under 4 months, which would be like 120 days. So I am on track to be under that. I had heard that, I think, long ago, and I kind of forgot about that. But I think that is kind of the general consensus. California under 4 months is a good pace. So slightly encouraging, I guess. It was good to hear that. I'm just thinking about how many days I have left. So I got about 85 miles to get to the border left. And today's Friday, so I'll probably hit there sometime Monday, Tuesday, probably Tuesday. Definitely with how I'm feeling right now, unless this just gets better. And pray it doesn't get worse. So if this gets to the point like it was last night, consistently, I'm done for. Like, actually, that's what took me off trail in Idlewild. One of the absolute worst pains I've ever felt in my life. And I've had plenty of sporting injuries as a kid growing up. So anyways, yeah, today's day 108, probably got four days, maybe 5, maybe 3, but probably 4. Let's call it 5 to be conservative. So that puts me at 113 days for California. That's a little bit below that 4-month mark, which is good. Well, I said today's Friday. Should have mentioned it's August 15th. That was my grandmother's birthday, my mom's side. She passed away a couple years ago. And there's been times on this hike I've kind of felt her presence or consciousness, or at the very least just her kind of lasting blessing and support. She was always very supportive and helpful to me and supportive of my ambitions that may not be what society says are cookie cutter lifestyle. So definitely thanking for today. I'm missing her, and definitely appreciative of all her advice and wisdom through the years. And yeah, some meadow down there, kind of besides the mountains. The only thing to really look at. It's pretty sparse with all this burn zone here. I have my new Darn Tough socks with the PCT logo on. They're the same ones I had before. Actually, I'm gonna flip the camera because there's nothing to see here. So they're the same ones I had before when I lost one, which I had traded that pair in. But this time I got a small. It says for men, it's up to shoe size 7.5, the small socks. I'm currently wearing a 9.5. I've worn 10s on trail, and these smalls fit perfectly. The mediums, which were I think 8 to 9.5 men's, were way too big. The heel was basically like the center part of the heel, where there's like a little, in theory, extra stitching and stuff, was like on my lower part of my Achilles. Just so annoying. It's especially annoying because I own over 10 pairs of these socks that cost $20 or $30 a pair. I bought a bunch of them last year, and now that I'm actually putting them to really good use and realizing I probably have the wrong size for all of them, which is frustrating because it's exactly the size they recommend getting. But at least this pair fits right. And on that note, with my grandmother, I know if she were still around, she would be supportive. I can say that confidently because she was very supportive of certain things I've done, such as pursue music full time when few others were, and just unapologetically supportive without, nuances and whatnot. And I can say, as an example, it's one. So she would be very supportive of me on this journey, and I'm sure she would have enjoyed watching this vlog each day and then send me a nice text message like she always did, just with encouragement and words of support. Well, I just swore out loud again. I had to stop. I'm less than 5 miles in. Took painkillers, or ibuprofen I should say, not painkillers. I thought maybe it would reduce inflammation right after I started because it was so bad. And now I'm not even 5 miles in. It's been some of the hardest 5 miles in a long time because of the pain. And I just had to stop. I'm at a loss of words. Those are some big fish, to be able to see them all the way from up here. This is too similar to the Sierra Steps, as I called them. F the Sierra Steps. One of my videos, you might have seen a drawing where it had a middle finger and it said the Sierras. That was my friend Nine who drew that. He also shared the somewhat unpopular opinion with me that the Sierras are overrated. But as I'm sure you all know, ad nauseum from my videos, those steps screwed my knee over and did me in. Also, these crickets are really loud with the clicking. But yeah, there's been a lot of rocks in this section the last day or two. And all of a sudden we got these big steps again. What am I craving right now? This is gonna be gross because I was lucky, had really great supportive parents
that made me fresh sandwich and lunches every day to take to school. But because I still liked getting some of the girls' cafeteria food in middle school, they would give me money to do so a couple times a week, or maybe once a week. But most of that stuff was nasty. But I can't believe I'm saying this, so gross. But I just got a craving for Bosco sticks. Those like basically breadsticks with cheese in them that you dip in marinara sauce. Nasty frozen crap. But ew, even saying it out loud is gross to me, but that is what I got. It popped into my head after smelling something. Well, I'm not doing great, both physically and the resulting psychology of the situation, but I did just eat that avocado, and that was great. This sucks. Day's been like this the whole time, pretty much. Way too reminiscent of the Sierras. It's just something I want nothing to do with right now, especially everything else considered. Talked to another guy at the watering hole. Say he's got way slower of a start than he was expecting. Presume that's because of the terrain. I think that's Mount Shasta still way back there, unless, because both Mount Etna and Shasta are directly in that direction. Etna's obviously half the distance, but I haven't actually identified the peak of Mount Etna yet. But yeah, I feel like that's still I don't know. I feel like I'm back in the Sierras. I'm not happy about it. That said, objectively, it is pretty beautiful. This sucks. I just got up to whatever pass this is. That was not fun. Very steep for the last half mile or whatever it was. Ugh. I mean, this literally looks like the Sierras. Color of the water, the rocks. This pain level is next level with these shin splints or whatever, my anterior tib tendonitis that I had on day 14 through 17, at which point then I took off another 10 days or so to heal in Idlewild. And then I went back to San Diego for that, but it's awful. I've had so many issues and injuries out here, and the pain from this is just, it literally feels like they're snapping your tendon, like a blood clot's bubbling through and then snapping your tendon. It's awful. This is so shitty. I'm so sick of this shit. I have yelled the F word twice today already. This pain is not the same level as when I was going to Idlewild. It took me off trail. I can't get a freaking goddamn break. Literally the day after my foot's stress fracture is finally feeling better after weeks, this kicks in. It is unbearable, this level of pain. I've taken freaking Tylenol, ibuprofen. I'm walking out slowly and it's doing nothing. I keep having to stop because the pain is unbearable. I can't finish like this. There's no fucking way. This needs to fucking get better. I'm fucking done. I'm fucked. I'm fucked. If this doesn't somehow miraculously get better, I am fucked. This is the same shit that took me off trail for 12 days. It is horse shit. I'm so fucking sick of every step hurting. I can't even fucking lift my toes. Like, fuck. Fuck! Some of you may be wondering, given all the injuries I've had, why this one I'm so freaking pissed off extra level. And is it because I'm just reaching my breaking point? Possibly. I mean, it's just the fucking luck I've had out here is unbelievable. Like, it's truly unbelievable. One would find a hard time believing it if you were told what's occurred for me out here. Every freaking thing. But it's because I know this is a hike-ending injury. If this doesn't somehow just miraculously turn around, I've been able to fight through terrible knee pain, been able to fight through a stress fracture, Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis, all this shit that I have to deal with that I can freaking handle. But this, I know what this entails because I already had it. It took me off trail, and I don't have time to come off trail and heal this for another week or 2 weeks. So this is it. If this is really what it seems to be, that came out of kind of freaking nowhere, like it's been hurting me, but not like it started to yesterday, that's the end of it. And I don't even know what that'll mean for me psychologically. Like I'm an all or nothing kind of guy with this shit, so I'm really, really pissed off, obviously. And that is a little explanation as to why this is eating at me so much more than everything else. This is getting so severe that my thoughts have fairly recently and quickly moved towards, do I even have the ability to get out of here without getting help? Like, I don't have enough food. Like, if I carried food to be able to push 25, 30 mile an hour days. It's 1 o'clock. I haven't even done 10 miles. Every step is like a 8.5 to 9 out of 10 on pain scale. I don't know. I just need to find somewhere to sit, which is a struggle because I'm high up in this rocky bullshit, and assess what the deal is here. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make it out of here. I'm 10.3 miles in. It is past 1:30. This is the first flat spot I've seen in miles. I'm insane. Like, I just can't keep going right now. I need to stop. I just need to lay down. God damn it.
Just had a really nice conversation with a guy I walked by named Meat Brick was his trail name. Really nice guy. But, I mean, I didn't even hesitate when we're talking. I said this might be the end of my hike. Like, that's how serious this is, and I know it off the bat because I've dealt with it already. That's why I'm so beyond frustrated. Like, he said, yeah, he knew a Belgian doctor who was probably around my age who got off a couple hundred miles ago for the same issue. I mean, this is the fact that I so quickly and matter of fact said this could be the end of my hike. Like, I haven't even contemplated that thought before, let alone like marinated on it or like accepted it. And that's kind of where I'm at. We'll see if there's some miracle I can pull off here. I mean, even just sitting here hurts. It's horrible. When I said I want this to be over yesterday or the day before, and I've told people that now, like, I obviously meant like I'm ready to finish, but and like be done with this. But I obviously mean like I want to finish and get to the finish line properly, not I want to stop. If I want to stop, I just stop. It's 2:15. I just finished my break. I'm gonna slowly just try to keep getting mileage because I got to get to Side Valley. I have very limited food resources. And 38 miles to go. I have fully recognized and acknowledged this could be the end of my hike, but I am reserving a small part of myself that is optimistic that this will somehow fix itself. Man, I had a different word in mind. It starts with an R. Relieve itself, release itself, resolve. That this will somehow resolve itself, but the pain is identical to what took me off trail the first time in Idlewild. And it's just, I can't even fathom, of all things, that this is what gets me and pops up out of nowhere. But just literally one step at a time. Right now I need to find a way to manage this pain enough so I can get to Side Valley and then reassess. It's not hurting as much at the moment. That rest must have really helped, and I used a certain massage technique on it and put in the CBD cream, whatever is left of what got squeezed out. But it feels so fragile and delicate. But I've made it a mile and been able to very much manage it. Basically tiptoeing, going so slow, but if that's what it takes to not keep hurting this more, I gotta do that. And it's a really tough stretch to be going through at this time of day. It's peak heat. You can see how entirely exposed it is. Found like one tree here that I'm standing behind for a minute.
If I somehow make it all the way to the terminus still, I want to look back at this moment because right now it seems like the odds are entirely stacked against me. I've got 4 miles to the next water source. I've actually been doing a 10.6 mile carry. Normally 4 miles would seem like nothing, but with this heat and how much pain I'm in, how slow I have to go as a result, 4 miles seems like an eternity away. I was grateful for these clouds providing some temporary relief from this very, very intense heat and sun. My right shin is, I don't know the word for it. It feels like it's being snapped in half, the tendon. Every step is like just a horrible, it feels like it's all tied up and knotted up in there. It's an awful, awful feeling. One of the worst pains I've ever felt by far. This is anterior tibia tendonitis. This is definitely one of the trail low points for me, just everything. Shin hurts so bad. That's cool though. I almost stepped on this thing. Pretty girthy. It's not moving or making noise. It literally looks like a wall. Just got to water. I'm 17 and a half miles in. I've been doing this for 8 hours. It's horrible. I'm miserable. It's been absolutely painful every mile almost. Like, this doesn't cut it. It's not enough. I can't make it with this injury. It's gonna have to get better somehow. It's already 6 o'clock. Since I'm going injury pace, I'm gonna try to get 4 more in and then call it a day. There's a tent site 4 miles away by a lake, but it's mostly uphill till then. And yeah, I just think I'm gonna really have to take this day at a time. The guy I was talking to earlier, Meat Brick, just saw him at the last water source again. He was probably 10 minutes behind me getting to the water, and a mile and a half back from the water, he saw a mom and 2 cubs of bear. And the mom ran away when she saw him. The cubs went up the tree. But pretty amazing how, like, really, like, skittish they are overall. Because that's the situation with black bears. You got to be careful and worry about a little bit. And glad there's nothing more serious there, but must have been cool to see. This is gonna be quite a climb for these 4 miles. See how I hold up. I mean, the idea of doing less than 20 miles a day, just can't stomach that right now. But this has been some of the hardest 18 miles in a long time because of this shin splint, anterior tib tendonitis injury, and also just the terrain. That's cool. Naturally, I had to get closer to see how far down I went. It goes like in there. If I had more time and I wasn't injured, I would climb down in there for sure with my headlamp, but I don't. The sun's going down in 2 hours, and 2 miles an hour because I have 4 miles left is kind of a lot for me right now. So It's a really unique topography. I had to stop to explore, even though I mentioned I'm kind of pressed on daylight here. It's pretty unique for this trail so far. There are some tent sites that have been cleared away, surrounded by those marble and those caves or granite or whatever it is. Super cool. Really is tempted, but I'm hype. I'm definitely saturated with painkillers and ibuprofen, and my leg hurts, but it's tolerable at the moment, likely because I just took a bunch more of those. So since I've only done 18, I just got to keep going, get a few more in. But that was a super cool spot. Great example of where I just sometimes wish I had more time to actually enjoy the area and just instead of just passing through. But this spot here, this is a cool time of day, I think, to be hitting this very interesting steep valley. I'm pretty intrigued by this. It's such an interesting steep structure, and it's like a bowl the way it goes around. So interesting. It's like something out of a movie. Can't remember if it was Braveheart or the show Vikings, but there's a scene where there's like, I think it's in the show Vikings, there's just like the Vikings think they're sneaking up, but they're actually, the enemy's all just waiting on top around this curved ridge line, and they have the high ground. This echo's pretty cool. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but this is one of my favorite spots of the whole PCT. I think this is so cool. It's just so like massive and majestic and like kind of cozy because you're tucked in the corner here. Yeah, I'd really like to spend more time here. This is cool. I don't even know what this is. So I just looked, I'm about a mile away from a junction to Box Top Mountain. So if this isn't that, then it's close to that. Well, even with the ibuprofen, the acetaminophen, and the CBD THC cream, still feel my anterior tib tendonitis in my right leg that abruptly flared up in every step, which is demoralizing to say the least, especially because, as mentioned, this is an injury that took me off trail on the other leg. So I'm very worried. What I'm getting at is these last 3 miles are going to be a struggle, but that'll put me at 21.8 or so on the day, which is way less than I had kind of earmarked. I was planning to do high 20s, low 30s to set myself up for like a day where I could knock out what was left, maybe like a long half day, and then get into a side valley at the general store and get back on trail. But now, because of this, I'd say 70% of the discrepancy between what I was planning to do today and what I did is because of this pain in my right leg, like shin splints essentially. Slowed my pace down significantly, had to come to an absolute stop multiple times. And about 30% is due to unexpected, challenging terrain that is reminiscent of the Sierras. I think with the videos, that's quite apparent. It's a lot harder to do that kind of elevation gain, just slower when there's rocks everywhere and it's steeper, just a lot slower. So honestly, it's just an absolutely disappointing day on all fronts. I'm grateful that I'm still limping and not totally debilitated like I was this morning and last night, but that's probably just largely because I've been taking this. I'm calling them painkillers. I said what they are. Whatever. Ibuprofen is acetaminophen. Which is like Tylenol essentially, and Advil. But yeah, that's probably the big reason why I'm even able to limp around right now. But yeah, this has been an extremely frustrating 24 hours. And I don't know, I'm pretty demoralized. We'll see. I really hope there's some way that I can manage this and it'll heal, but I'm definitely concerned. I don't know, I'm sure I'll get a few more videos, but if not, I'll see y'all tomorrow. That also looks like it could be an art piece, like a centerpiece at a museum or something, or mall. If I had to guess, I'd say that is Box Top Mountain, given the shape, but I don't know if that really lines up. What's coming up is a junction 2 there, so maybe it is. Another kind of curved bowl type structure here. Not as cool as the other one, just given the colors and lack of rocks and stuff, but still pretty cool. I really do think I'm screwed here. I mean, I can't even bend my toes down. Like, it hurts so much to be walking right now, and I have so much medicine in me and on me. You know, this shin pain in my right has been on and off for 4 or 5 weeks, but it never got to the degree it did till the last few days, but especially yesterday. It just got terrible, and I'm thinking, like, what could have caused this? I did a full stretch routine the night before. I was very sore. My shin was hurting more than usual then still, too. But I did a stretch called the shin box, which is more to stretch your, like, glutes, but I believe. But in getting set up for it, I actually did stretch my shins, because you basically have your shins at a 90-degree angle on the ground. And I definitely felt it. And that's precisely what I was doing when I had this tendonitis in my left anterior tib. I was stretching it every half a mile, which I learned is really bad to do. So I wonder if that messed it up. I've been trying my absolute best not to stretch it or bend it back today. I mean, I really can't even. It's so bad, but this is unfreaking believable. It's an overuse injury, so like obviously a huge part of that is the fact that I upped my mileage the last few weeks, and then the day that 2 nights ago I did 31.6, like definitely a big factor. But I wonder if when I laid down and kind of stretched it out like that, somewhat inadvertently, if that's what did the real damage, that then once I got really moving a lot the next day, it just couldn't take it anymore and started like spasming or whatever you call it. It's not really spasm, I don't know. It's just one of the absolute most awful feelings I've ever felt in my life physically. Well, I stopped because it's literally just too freaking painful to keep walking. And I looked, and you can really see kind of, I kept calling it a bowl, but kind of the curvature of how cool it is in here. So that's sort of like northeast that way. And that's sort of like north, which is, you know, obviously where the trail will keep going. If I can even keep going, big asterisk there. I'm not sure I'd say these look like storm clouds. I'm by means no expert at all. But they do look like they got some moisture in there. I hope it holds off and doesn't rain, or if it does, at least after I'm set up my tent site. Or maybe that's Box Top Mountain, who knows. But very ominous kind of clouds rolling in. It's a cool breeze coming through. I've got 0.3 miles left. I am pretty miserable. Don't need to reiterate why. But today's just sucked. I mean, terrain was so rough and hard. But I will say, very, very beautiful landscape. That's for sure. I'm I'm too beat up at this point. I'm gonna camp in here. There's a lake down there, and should be some tent sites up here or down by the lake. Looks like there's a few other people here. Despite being so much pain and so frustrated and uncertain as to what's gonna happen the rest of this hike, I can still appreciate the beauty here. I think this is one of the most beautiful sights I've seen of the whole PCT. There's something about the rocks and the colors. It's got a little with the overcast right now. I actually should probably get my tent up as those clouds are rolling in, but I haven't been to Ireland yet, but it gives me a little bit of kind of Ireland vibes. This is the end of day 108. Extremely frustrating to be injured again. Not sure what's going to happen, but I will catch you all tomorrow. One last time. We all have our preferences, but wow, I think this is so cool. I'm just walking to, there's two nice people camping here, presumably locals, because they had a lot of knowledge about the area, and they told me about this. Because there are comments saying not sure they want to drink the water pouring out of the lake, which crosses the trail, but this is where it comes into the lake. It's presumably much cleaner. This is a beautiful pitch, if I say so myself, but the zippers are giving me all kinds of problems. I emailed the company and just said I don't want to deal with it because I've heard horror stories from people on trail having the zipper issue, and I'm trying to say, here's a zipper, sew it up yourself, like craziness, and fighting just to get a replacement. So I don't want to deal with it right now, but it's been a problem ongoing, but still able to get a good pitch in there. All right, I'll catch y'all tomorrow.